Jingle bell. Oh, hello, everybody. Well, welcome to the special holiday episode. Yeah, I was like, man, I haven't even had a beer yet. But anyways, all right, this is going to be the special holiday edition of Hump Day Hangouts. This is episode 163 for those of you who are keeping track of the numbers. It is the 20th of December, 2017. So we wanted to have this time where we can have a little bit of extra time for Q&A and go over in more depth a little bit. And that's kind of our little holiday fun time. And as you can tell, a few of us have got our favorite hats on, or antlers, if you will. So before we get into it, let's just say hi real quick and see how everyone's doing. So Chris, how are you doing?
Doing good. Been snowboarding all day. Crazy week here. Tons of snow. So yeah.
Sounds good. Hernan, zoom out your camera and tell us how you're doing.
I'm zooming for the tree. Can you see the tree in the background? There we go. Boom, that's my tree. Hey, and those are my balls from the tree, right?
Oh, gotcha. I was like, that kind of scared me. It went back to your face when you said that. So.
Yeah, I know. That's right. Hey guys, what's up? How are you? It's really, really good to be here.
Awesome. Marco, how you doing? How's the beer?
Hey, what's up, man? It's ice cold. It just came out of the freezer. Merry Christmas, man.
Cheers. Cheers. Bradley, how you doing today?
I'm great. I get to wear this hat, so any day I get to wear this hat is a good day. I don't have any beer because I got to go. I get to go pick up my daughter for dinner tonight when we're done with this webinar, so I'm not drinking any beer, but I do have some coffee. So
good deal. Well, there you go. I've got some tea. I was in a hurry, so I didn't have a chance. I'm gonna grab my beer, but then I'm going to meet my wife for a beer. So we're having a good Wednesday here. So. All right, real quick, we have a couple things we want to go over for everybody before we jump into the questions and get into that. We've been talking about it, and I know you probably heard about the MasterMInd. If you haven't yet, that's our private membership group, the Semantic Mastery Mastermind. And we have a special offer for the holidays only. That this is something we've never done before. We talked about how we could make this interesting for people in terms of we have a lot of people who do want to check out the MasterMInd, and want to find out more about it. And we realized that, hey, it's the end of the year. Now you might have some time to check it out. What we're going to do is open this up to the first 20 people only are going to get a 7-day trial for $1. And so that alone is worth just a hell of a lot more than that. But not only that, you're going to get a chance to talk to one of the founders one-on-one, phone call, Skype, for 30 minutes. So that is another several $100 value. If you want to try to go to the page, you can schedule time with Bradley right now. It's going to cost you a hell of a lot of money, though. So I think this is a really cool offer, and it also is part of the Christmas spirit of giving back. We want to talk to you if you're interested in joining the mastermind and help you out and see if it is a good fit. And if it's not, that's okay. But we really want people who are interested, and if you think you might be a good fit, then we're happy to have you join on. It's $1 for 7 days, and then you'll be a full member after that.
And that call with one of us for 30 minutes, that in itself is, guys, typically we charge several $100s per, Marco charges $750 an hour. I think we're charging the rest.
Sorry, I'm at $1,200 an hour,
okay.
Dude.
Well, I think the rest of us are charging, $500-600 an hour for consultation, and for the trial. If you're serious about potentially joining, don't do it just for the 30 minutes, guys, because that would be a real dick move.
Yeah, because then we'll know.
yeah. But if you're seriously considering joining and you're on the fence, this would be a good time to come dip your toes in the water and get a chance to talk with one of us, and we can find out a little bit about your business and find out if you're a good fit for the mastermind, really. So, this is a great opportunity, guys. It's not going to come around very often. So I would recommend that if you're even considering joining the mastermind within the next couple of months, that you take us up on this offer now.
Yeah. And
there's a lot of coming in 2018.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's the specific reason, people are asking, why are we doing this kind of stuff? And there's a specific reason, we have noticed that people that come to the mastermind, they see the value that's in the mastermind and the mind-blowing amount of not only information, but resources that you get when you join the mastermind. And most people that come to the mastermind as a trial or testing it out tend to stay. We have one of the highest retentions of all of our products, ever, is on the mastermind. And there's a reason behind it. We are actually helping people growing their businesses and taking the business to the next level. And as Bradley was saying, we're gonna jump for all of you guys that join during this promo. for 30 minutes where we can strategize on how to help you grow your business. And as Chris was saying, you have a lot of the good stuff prepared for the next year, right? So, I mean, if you're serious on growing your business, I think this is a no-brainer to get. And yeah, that's basically it. And because again, most people that join the mastermind, they tend to stay for a long time.
And I think it's good to touch base on that, because I know we talk about it occasionally, but mostly it's with the mastermind members. But Bradley, I mean, I don't have it in front of me, but real quick, can you just give the general, like, what's the plan for 2018? We don't have to go into like the individual training sections, but do you want to remind people like what it is that we're doing with the mastermind?
Yeah, we're basically going to be building 2 businesses throughout the year, and we're going to be covering it from the ground up, essentially. So one of them is a gym, a local gym, across. It's a boxing gym as well as a CrossFit gym, and in mixed martial arts and stuff like that. And I'm going to be focusing primarily on building the CrossFit side of the gym up, although there will be some crossover onto the MMA and boxing side as well. But that's great because you guys will get to kind of witness, or mastermind members will kind of get to witness a local brick and mortar style business being built, with an emphasis on the digital marketing side of things. But I'm going to be covering all aspects of that business, which will include some traditional marketing, which would be like local networking events and direct mail and newspaper, stuff, whether it's press and local newspapers, or, actually taking out print ads and things like that. Maybe trade booths at, booths at trade shows and things like that. There's a lot of stuff that I'm going to be doing and because I'm now part owner of that gym and I want to grow that gym. And this is a great opportunity to do that and teach others about how to build a business, besides just the marketing stuff, guys. And that's where I think a lot of our industry lacks, is training about like how to be a true business owner, right? I mean, it's great to know how to rank shit in Google. That's awesome. It's great to know how to set up ads, Facebook ads, or, AdWords ads, whatever. That's all well and good. But if you don't know how to run a business, you're never going to be very successful. And so I think that's part of, and also as a local business consultant, and I know about 60% of our audience is in the local marketing, consulting services and such. And because of that, we as marketing advisors, we can elevate our status and our value to our clients if we can provide advice and business advice, not just strictly digital marketing advice. And so I think that's one of the things that makes us, especially smaller like marketers that are kind of running agencies on our own, especially, normally to begin with, typically to begin with, we start off on our own. If we can provide additional value that the big box agencies can't, one-on-one service, additional consultation, that kind of stuff, it really elevates our value. So I think it's super important. And that's something I'm going to want to share, as well as we're building another marketing agency. So the second business that we're going to be building, and we've already started that process throughout the mastermind too, but we're going to be going in all the various aspects of building an agency, a digital marketing agency, focused specifically on contractor marketing. But that's going to be very valuable, obviously, to our mastermind members, because most of our members are into building agencies. Now, besides building those 2 businesses, it's not like we're just going to completely not do teaching on all the other stuff that we normally do. We still are, absolutely. But the focus, the primary focus, is going to be built on building those 2 businesses. We've kind of got like a 12-month plan laid out across multiple modules. And we'll move on now. I'll let Adam finish up announcements, and I'll pull the Google Doc that I set up with an outline, the course outline for 2018, and then I'll post the link here on the event page, and you guys can all take a look at it and see what the proposed or tentative outline is for 2018. Obviously, it's subject to change. We'll make course corrections as we go. That always happens, but at least this is the intent. This is what we intend to do throughout the year. Okay.
Nice. Definitely. And I actually had to reach behind me. I had this behind me. So this is December's, but I was happy to say the January edition is going out to the mastermind members. Just went to the publisher, so it'll be there in time for early January. So pumped about that. Keep that going for mastermind members.
And let me, yeah, that, by the way, the newsletter is awesome. I think it's fun. I think it's fun doing that every month. I just wrote my piece again on Monday. And I've enjoyed that. This is our 3rd one getting ready to go out. And that's something else that the physical newsletter, guys, is something that's a big plus for the mastermind members. We just started doing it. It's about our 3rd edition is about to be published. And what we're doing with those is we're making that like highly actionable stuff. It's like it's not fluff, it's not theory, it's stuff that each one of us contribute to the newsletter every month, and each one of us we contribute something that we are doing right now in our businesses, and we put it in step-by-step fashion. Follow these instructions and you'll be able to duplicate our results. And that's it. It's like very actionable, and that's something that, and we send it out in physical format, which is awesome. And we've got a lot of really good comments about it.
All right, let's. I want to talk to Marco real quick and let everybody know about what we have going on. I mean, I'll just leave the introduction out, Marco. I'll just let you kind of dive into this. This is really cool, and I think you can give the best overview.
Yeah, you know, this is something that's near and dear to my heart. You guys know, I had a hard time talking about it when I approached you with it, and it's because it touches me. Just real quick, guys. I grew up really poor in Costa Rica, sometimes not knowing where a meal was coming from, going to bed hungry, not having clothes, just what it was. We were very, very poor. Now that I'm a bit more successful, my wife and I, what we do is we help charities. I mean, we just like helping people, and it's through this wanting to help people and enjoying helping people that you know, I came up with this idea that I presented to the team, which I'm calling subs for kids. And it isn't sandwiches. It's actually supplies, uniforms, and books, so that these kids who have nothing and whose parents live on less than $5 a day, you know, the whole family lives on less than $5 a day, so that they can actually go to school. The best way for these children to avoid the cycle of poverty is to get an education. I mean, you guys don't know that. No education, no good job, you're poor. And you're going to continue that cycle. Your children are going to be poor. Their children are going to be poor until you break that cycle. So what we've decided to do, and Semantic Mastery is kicking off the effort, we're donating $1,000. That'll get 10 kids their supplies, their uniforms, and their books. What we'd like you guys to do, I'll be doing a post later, but what we'd like you guys to do is help us out, because our goal is to send 100 kids to school this year. Excuse me, beginning in February. That's when the school year begins, and hopefully more. I mean, hopefully you guys will all band together, the Semantic Mastery community. We will be reaching out to the rest of the SEO and the IM community to get them to contribute to the effort. But I mean, I am really excited about this because I love helping kids. We all love helping kids. And the people that we're working with, I mean, just about every dollar that's donated goes to the kids and what they need. So it's just wonderful people that we're working with. We're in the communities. We're reaching out. You guys get more detail when I do the video on what it is that we're doing. We'll set up the page so that you can make your donation, and hopefully, you know, my goal is 100 kids. So if we don't make it to 100, I'll make up the rest, and we will be sending at least 100 to school. But hopefully, you know, you guys will jump on the bandwagon, and we will send more than 100 kids to school in 2018, and we will see after that. So that's what I have.
That's a great, you know, that's an awesome goal. 100 kids, to help 100 kids get the stuff that they need, cool, you know, apparel, clothing, school supplies, basically to put 100 kids through school. That's a freaking awesome goal. And we're so glad that Marco proposed that to us this year. We've done charity stuff every year around this time. We like to do that, but this is something that is much more hands-on for Marco, which is awesome because you know, there's much more skin in the game, so to speak, and it's closer and more near and dear to his heart, which obviously makes it more closer and near and dear to our hearts as well. So we hope that you guys will join us with that. I'm sorry, what were you going to say, Hernan?
I was about to say that some people are asking about the page and when we can donate, and we will have that ready soon, right, Marco?
Yeah, I'll have it ready by Friday, and I'll post in here in this Hangouts after when it's ready, so that you guys will all be notified, and you can go ahead and donate. Just so you know, we're going to set up a Stripe payment, because if we go through PayPal, they'll kill us, guys. In Latin America, it ends up being 6.6%, 5.5 PayPal fees, plus 1.1% bank fees. So we're trying to avoid the fees as much as possible. So we're going through Stripe, just so you know. I mean, if you can only do PayPal, of course, let me know, and we'll go ahead and do PayPal. But we're trying to get as much money to the kids as possible.
Sounds good. And I also wanted to add, Scott, Mohamed, and Brad, thank you for joining us, for taking us on these $1 offer. So we're excited to get to schedule with you guys the call. Really soon.
Rock on, guys. That's awesome.
Cool. Well, that also means we're down to 17. So there's 17 spots left. So if you're thinking about it and you've been thinking about joining the mastermind, now's a very good time to do it.
Yep.
Oh,
okay. Real quick, hold on, Adam, just for a moment. Guys, I dropped the link to the Google Doc with the course outline for 2018. There is a link on there that just goes to the normal mastermind sign up page, I believe, that not the $1 trial. So that was just for you guys to see what the course outline is. If you're interested in the $1 trial, go to the link that Adam posted on the event page, and that'll take you to that offer. Okay. Go ahead, Adam.
Good. Oh, no, I was just going to open my beer, which I went ahead and did. So don't worry about it. And I was going to say, RL, hey, man, once you're profitable and you donate to charity, that's awesome. In the meantime, if you can give to Salvation Army or whatever charity you like, don't want to get into like, what charities do the best or worst, anything you can do some volunteering. I've done that myself instead of giving money. Sometimes it feels good, or I don't know where my money's going. Or if you don't have money this year, that's cool. Just, if you got an hour or two and you can help someone out this year, that's worth its weight in gold. So good on you.
But guys, also, you don't have to donate $100, $1. If we get 1,000 people to donate $1, that's 10 kids, man.
Yep.
So don't think it in those terms. Don't think big. It doesn't have to be. We'll take whatever you can give.
That's right. It's the thought. So, okay, what's next?
I'm good. You guys got anything?
Nope.
All right, let's do this.
All right. So the last thing I want to mention is, so last week for the mastermind webinar, one of our newer mastermind members, Justin, he requested that I go through a very specific process on how to do the video email prospecting. I had updated the training for that. So many of you are probably aware of it. For those of you that are not, video email prospecting is something that I started doing way back in 2012 when I first opened my agency, and it was the most successful way that I was ever able to land clients consistently. That and networking, like live networking events, like local meetup groups and stuff like that, lead share groups, chamber of commerce meetings and stuff like that. And so I had recorded some training on how to do video email prospecting. It's a laser approach, right? It's like a rifle approach, not a shotgun approach. It's very, very targeted. It's time consuming to set up. There's no question, but it works incredibly well. My consistent response rate was about 35 to 40%. I'd get 3 to 4 opens for every 10 or 3 to 4 responses for every 10 emails I sent, and I would typically close 1 or 2 clients out of every campaign. So that that's a really good return on my time. Again, it's a bit time consuming, but super effective. So I recorded some training about that way back in 2012, and I just shared that training to anybody that wanted it for several years. And then last year, I went ahead and did an updated version of it, but it was pretty much just a slideshow and me narrating essentially the steps. Well, last week, we had a 2-hour and 40-minute mastermind webinar where I went through the entire process. First in theory, through slides and just explaining the process, and then I went through an actual mock setup of how I would go about creating the prospecting video, creating the email, what I would look for and audit in the actual video itself for auditing the digital presence of a prospect, then sending the email out, tracking the email, following up, closing the sale. And so I covered all of that last week. And I think what we're going to do is, I mentioned many times recently that we're not going to be creating a whole lot of new products outside of the mastermind, and that's true. This is something, though, that I think many, many people would benefit from in our audience, because we get questions all the time about the best way to land prospects. And in my opinion, this is hands down one of the top 2 or 3 ways to land prospects, through my own experience and through many of the experiences of our members, as well as some of my partners have been implementing it. So that said, I just kind of want to plant the seed, guys. We're going to be launching that. I've chopped it up and kind of edited it out, so it's not just like a 2-hour and 40-minute video. It's going to be essentially a product on how video email prospecting updated for 2018 edition, and we're going to sell that. Probably launch that within the next month. It's not going to be some super big IM launch like most stuff is, guys. It's not like that. We're probably just going to launch this one internally to people on our list, because we know a lot of you are, do that kind of work, and you would benefit from the training. And so I just kind of wanted to plant the seed, guys. That's something that we're going to try to launch within the next month or so. It's really just a matter of getting all the infrastructure built for that. But the product's almost ready now. I should have it done in another couple of days. So keep that in mind. Hopefully you guys are interested for that. I'd like to get that one out as soon as possible so that you guys can start 2018 off right. Those of you that are looking for clients, and get out there and start prospecting. Build the habit of doing this on a weekly basis, and you will absolutely land clients. I 100% promise you that. All right.
Yeah. Got so much good shit coming out so soon. I'm so pumped. I can't even we gotta, let's get into it, but at the end we gotta mention Serp Space, but I'll save that till the end. We gotta
Also a quick shout out to Ken, Ajay, and Matthew. Thank you for joining, guys, for the $1 MasterMIND trial. So keep them coming. We have 14 spots left. So
wow, we got 6 already. That was fast. All right, cool. All right, guys, I'm gonna grab the screen and get into questions. Everybody cool with that?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay, cool. Let's see. What's up, Jamina? Thank you. She said, really awesome training. Saw the entire webinar. Adam, guys, I love the fact that you guys like my hat. That's awesome. I look for an excuse to wear this. It only comes around about once a year.
How do you know it's your hat? It could be me or Marco.
It's actually, I bought this for Ava, my daughter. So
awesome.
All right, so Mohammed's up first. What's up, Mohammed? I believe he's one of the people that just joined for the $1 MasterMIND trial. And Mohammed, I'm absolutely looking forward to getting a chance to speak with you via phone or Hangout or something like that, because I know you've been following the MasterMIND or Mindset Mastery series. Oh, that's one more thing I wanted to mention, guys. This is a shameless plug for my own Mindset Mastery series. Again, I'm not selling products over there, guys. I just I created. Go to bradleybenner.com. Anybody that might need a shot in the arm sometimes, or a kick in the ass to get motivated and to start setting goals and achieving them. It's something that I've been working on for several months now, and I just about 3 weeks, I guess probably about a month ago, I started an email list as well. And so if you go to bradleybenner.com, you can see some of the videos that I've been posting. I try to do that weekly, but it's not always weekly. However, the emails I am writing daily, Monday through Friday, and it's something that has really helped me quite a bit with my writing ability, as well as to learn the material that I'm sharing, is just by sharing it through the emails. Like every single day at the end of my morning session, I take about an hour, half an hour to an hour to write an email so that it kind of solidifies in my own mind what I just studied, as well as conveys a thought out to you guys, any subscribers that are interested. So again, it's really it's a labor of love. It's a project for me. It's a selfish project. However, I know some of you could benefit from it, and I've gotten some really, really good feedback from it already. So I highly recommend that you go sign up for that. There's nothing to buy. It's just a daily email that I send out. And I do drop links to Amazon to the books and resources that I reference, the stuff that I'm studying. But that's pretty much it. It's not a pitch thing, guys. It's really to help you guys kind of take control of your lives and create your lives, if that makes sense, instead of allowing life to happen. And so anyways, go check that out. Mohammed's been following it since day one pretty much. And I certainly appreciate that, Mohammed. I love the questions that you've been sending me. Keep it up, man. I'm looking forward to talking with you. Okay, so that said, hey guys, happy holidays. Last week I asked about how to deal with industry-specific template sites, and I got a ton of good suggestions. What happens if nothing works out? Would it still be a good idea to do some off-page SEO or just walk away? I'm assuming what you mean is like those done-for-you site templates that are, there's nothing wrong with those, except I would uniquify. Is that a word? But I would uniquify the content a bit. Like if the site structure, if the framework of the site was built coded well, and it's not some junk shitty code that, and a lot of the times the problem with those template type sites are they're not maintained very well. And so, various WordPress updates and things like that, or they weren't coded well to begin with. So just keep that in mind. Let's just assume that they are, though. Okay, Mohammed. Then a lot of those sites are fine, except that it's duplicate content. That's not an issue, guys, normally. But what I would suggest that you do is try to make the content somewhat unique, have it rewritten, add some additional paragraphs, things like that. Try to localize the content more. You can even embed, you know, like local event news feeds and things like that from local newspaper sites. There's event calendars. I'm not sure if you can embed a Facebook events, but Facebook events is a great way to add dynamic content to a website, or to, you know, localize content. So I'm not sure if there's a way to iframe that in or not. There probably is. I haven't done it, but all I'm saying is just try to do stuff to make them more unique, because remember, if you can buy those templated sites, so can others, which means they're probably going to be used all over the web. So try to make it a little bit more unique. As far as off-page SEO, yeah, absolutely. As far, you know, I wish it was so easy that you could find a template that you would buy, install on a domain, and it would rank, but that's not the case, Mohammed. If you ever find that, don't share it with anybody but me. Okay, just so you know. So yes, off-page SEO is likely going to be required. Go ahead.
I think the problem with this is that he didn't have access to the back end. He couldn't get into it.
Okay, so yeah, I remember this question now.
Yeah.
So thank you for that, Marco.
And so my suggestion to him is, why don't you try ranking your own assets and selling the leads to whoever it is that's running the website? I mean, if it's a must-have client and you can't get to the website and you can't do anything with it, they won't install a subdomain with WordPress, then, you know, why fight the feeling, man? Just go with your own assets and get them leads. Once, you know, maybe once you provide the leads and you show what you can do, they'll actually give you the access you need.
Yep, and that's a good point. And so again, I apologize. I thought you were talking about like those agency type sites, but you're talking about proprietary site platforms. So that, and I totally get what you're saying. So that's like somebody that's not built on, has a website not built on WordPress. You can't have access to the back end, all that. So we talked about last week adding a subdomain with WordPress on it, and that's typically what we do in those types of situations. But if you can't even do that, if that's not even an option, okay, that's sometimes the case, then what Marco said is absolutely true. That would be my next step. Go ahead and set up your own assets, rank those, and then sell those leads, or do a rank. You can even do just a rank and rent method. If, you know, however you want to monetize that is fine. You could do, like, you could lease out those properties to the companies, you know, your prospective companies, or you could do pay per lead or whatever. Okay. So I totally agree with Marco on that. Number 2, what's the best way to visualize services like syndication networks and press releases? With SEO in general, it's easy to show prospects charts and rankings that previous clients achieved. Basically, what would be a good visual way to use for these services? Mohammed, I've always said this, guys, I have absolutely no problem with you borrowing our graphics to use for prospecting for clients. Where I do have so Mohammed, and that's all I've ever done, is I explain what syndication is, the importance of it, and the benefits of it. Like, what really the benefits of what syndication will do for a client, that's what I lead with, right? If they want to know exactly how it works and stuff like that, I may kind of tell them on a conceptual level, but really I try to stay out of the nitty-gritty details, because most people, it's just going to confuse them. But those graphics that we created were like, those graphics originally, like the ones that I created, we've had them updated since, but the ones that I created originally was so that I could sell these networks to clients, right? And so I don't have a problem with you borrowing our images to use for proposals for prospects, for prospecting. What I do have a problem is when people take our images and go to Fiverr and create a gig and sell syndication networks that are poorly built, not to our standards or specifications, and use our graphics in their marketing for selling our networks, basically. Well, a poor version of our networks. And some of the other big name sites out there have done that, and it's that pisses us off. But, you know, and then we will send out DMC notices and stuff like that for that. But for you guys that are, you know, members and or followers, whatever, subscribers, and you want to go out and prospect, feel free. Okay, we've got no problem with that. So, Mohammed, that's what I would say, is just go ahead and grab one of those images. You know, if you have to edit our logo out and superimpose your own onto it, that's fine. Create a proposal page or something like that that you can, or you can even cut a screencast video that you put onto a page that explains what syndication networks are, how they, and what they benefit, and how they benefit clients, and send people there, right? You can send a link in an email or send them direct to a video. I would send them to a landing page where you had that video and then a way to contact you or to purchase a network. That's what I would do. Okay. as far as that goes, really, you just talk about the fact that you want to create, and here's a good word to use, is ubiquity, right? You want to create brand ubiquity by basically every piece of content that the brand publishes, the prospective client publishes, will get spread out all across, published all over the web, so that they're everywhere at all. Like their brand name shows up everywhere. And so that's a good word to use, is ubiquity. All right. Number 3, BB has said before, the best path to take is to chase a single niche instead of many in a local area. Yes, and I stand by that statement. I've been getting good results with my current realtor, but he isn't on page 1 for all the terms yet. Do I wait until he's on everything first? I was considering go ahead without waiting, but I thought I would ask you first. When is it appropriate to chase others in different cities? Now, Mohammed. Yesterday is when it was appropriate. And the reason I say that is because, guys, we talked about this extensively in the MasterMIND webinar last week, which is going to be part of this video email prospecting for 2018 course. So you guys that end up picking that up, either join the MasterMIND and get it now, or wait until, you know, a month from now and get it as a separate product. That's fine. But I covered this extensively there. And here's the problem that I absolutely did this, and I'm telling everybody not to do this. Okay. And that's what most of us do, right? We turn on the prospecting machine, or we start prospecting, whatever, until we land 1 or 2 clients, and then we stop prospecting so that we can fulfill the work. And then what happens when we fulfill the work? We got to start from scratch again. We got to start all over. We got to turn the prospecting machine on, and we get another 1 or 2 or 3 clients, and then we turn it back off and we go fulfill the work. And it's a never-ending cycle. And part of the problem with that is you end up trying to make the few prospects that you end up talking with, you try to turn them into clients no matter what, because there's desperation there, because you don't have a pipeline full of prospects. Prospecting is something that you should be doing when you decide that you want to start generating clients, guys. You should turn a prospecting machine on and keep it on, never ending, never stop, so that you can have a pipeline full of prospects, so that you can cherry pick out of those prospects the best ones to work with. Right. And you can, then you don't have that desperation. Imagine if you had, Mohammed, 20 active prospects, active conversations going at any given time with potential prospects. Couldn't you be a bit more selective in who you worked with? Couldn't you only select the people to work with that you have good communication with, that understand that marketing is an investment, not an expense, that you get a good warm and fuzzy feeling about, instead of trying to make even that asshole that you spoke to yesterday, that in the pit of your stomach's going to be a pain in the ass, but you're willing to work with him because you need the damn money and you don't have enough prospects in your pipeline, that you have to take whoever will work with you, right? And again, guys, I'm not saying this from like a soapbox. I'm saying this because this is through 100% experience, and I know most of my partners can agree with me, or will agree with me, that this is something I suffered from. And it's absolutely what most people do. And I'm trying to prevent many of you guys that are just getting started from doing that. When you learn how to set up a prospecting system, once you develop it out, most of that can be outsourced. And we highly, highly recommend, and again, I hammer this point home in the training for the video email prospecting, is outsource your prospecting. Develop a system, which I'll give that to you in MasterMIND, or if you purchase the video email prospecting system, that's one way to do it. You can also do a shotgun approach. That's something else that we're covering in the MasterMIND. But my point is, once you've developed your prospecting system, then outsource it, which is not hard to do. And the vast majority of it can be outsourced, and then it gets done every week. And then keep your pipeline full of prospects at all times, because then that way, like I said, Mohammed, don't wait. That was the biggest mistake I made. And it took me 2 years to generate as many clients as I probably could have done in 3 months if I had just kept that going and created basically a system and allowed it to run on autopilot. Guys, I would love to hear your input on that last question.
Yeah, if I can start. First off, Jibka, welcome. Thank you, buddy. And I hope to, I'm really looking forward to talk to you soon. So I totally agree with what you're saying, Bradley. And I learned this kind of from the 10X rule from Grant Cardone, and the guy would say, if your pipeline is not full, you will be discouraged by the first no, you will be discouraged by the first guy that tried to, sell you on his or her priorities. it's harder, right? When you have like the calendar in full, like fully booked with strategy calls or with people that you want to talk, or you want to sell people into your products or services, there's no way, like if somebody says no, hey, I cannot afford it, boom, next. Don't worry, thank you. It's completely fine, move to the next step. And I completely 100% agree, because that's one of the mistakes that I made. I got a couple of leads, I will full steam ahead with lead gen. I got a couple of leads, I went talk to them, and then it stopped. So the best way to go is to automate it. And I 100% agree that is to automate it and to always have a constant flow of leads running through your pipeline. And then at the end of the day, you can outsource, like I would say 98% of the stuff. And then all you need to do is to jump on a call. And sometimes you can even outsource the delivery. Like if it's real quality and you have the processes, you can even outsource the delivery. So all you're doing is to actually thinking on, one, how to get more clients and leads, and number two, how to deliver better service and how to sell more stuff. That should be your only concern. So build a system, outsource, get as many leads as possible, because the reality is that, I don't know, if you have a 30% closing rate, which is amazing, or a 40% close rate, which is amazing, that means that 60% of people will say no. And that's completely normal, right? That's 100% normal. So all you need to do is to always be replacing those leads. And some leads will not buy right now. They will buy like 6 months from now, but you cannot wait. You cannot afford to wait 6 months for the guy to come up and made up his mind. So I totally agree with you, Bradley.
Yep. Anybody else?
Yeah, it's my mic on. Sorry, I'm coming back over here. I just want to say one thing, because it was a great one that I came across not too long ago. And I'm not going to, this is just one quick saying that helps me think of this stuff. And that's, when is the best time to plant a tree? And the answer is 10 years ago. But if you didn't do it then, do it today.
That's right.
And then take into account what Bradley said and be doing it all the time.
Yep. There's a cliche that says a year from today, or a year from now, you will have wished you started today. Right? A year from now, you will have wished you started today. And so my point is, if you start working on setting up a prospecting funnel, which can be the video email stuff, guys, again, that's a very targeted approach. But we also have the shotgun approach that I shared on a very high conceptual level last week for Hump Day Hangouts, but we've been going over that extensively in the mastermind, and that's part of the agency build that we're going to be doing throughout 2018. But that's a shotgun approach that is like a mass prospecting funnel, and it's working phenomenally well. We're working on the sales side of things right now, but the prospecting end is just crushing it. And so the point is, get started on it today. Take incremental steps, guys, even if it's just, even if all you can do is devote, 30 minutes a day towards building a prospecting system, do it. Because in a few weeks, it will look like you made a significant, quantum leap in prospecting, but really it's just from small action steps that you took every single day, and then you keep it going. And again, a year from now, you'll look back, and if you've got an automated pipeline, prospecting pipeline that's feeding you, 10, 15, 20 leads a week, every single week, think about how that would affect your agency and your business, your revenue, right? I mean, again, you could be so selective. And there's a great book that Wayne Clayton, one of our, top and longest mastermind members, recommended, called Hot Prospects. And, I think it's Hot Prospects, and it's by Bill Good. And he always talks about, when you have a pipeline full of prospects, then if somebody gives you any grief on the phone, if you catch any resistance whatsoever, you can very easily, and he says it all in one word, no spaces, thank you very much, click, like, in other words, thank you very much, and then he hangs up. Because when you have a whole bunch of people in your pipeline, you can do that. You can be very selective, and you don't have to try to save or force every sale possible, because you can just go right to the thank you very much, next. You know what I mean?
There's two things to this too. One is that you're not only, this isn't, I know some people think, oh, well, that's rude, or I don't want to do that. You're doing yourself a favor, but you're also doing them a favor, because if it's not a good fit, don't force it. Maybe you need to be clear, you need to communicate better and get your point across and what the benefits are. But other than that, move on, because you're going to waste their time as well, right? So you don't want to do that. So you're really doing them a service by doing yourself a service. So. And also, real quick, Bradley, I will say, speaking on planting the seed early, I gave my first Toastmaster speech last night. Bradley was in it. I'll tell you about that later.
Nice.
And it's funny, speaking about planting seeds, it took me 15 months from when I told someone I was going to go to Toastmasters because they told me about it and the benefits to me walking through the door. But since then, I've been going, and I've made it about 3 out of 4 weeks of the month. So I've been going for about 6 weeks, and it's just an hour a week. And already I can see improvements, and it's just putting that little bit in the bank, right, and building those skills. So
yeah. Toastmasters is I've been in there for 3 or 4 months now, and I've given 2 speeches. I was supposed to give one last night for my Toastmasters meeting last night, but I didn't get it written, so I pushed it back to the next meeting. But yeah, it's great, man. It's and so you did your break the ice speech, huh?
Did my icebreaker. I did.
Icebreaker, yeah.
Yeah, it was good. So I'll tell you about it later. You were in it. So
I'm anxious to hear about it, man. It's a great organization. Okay, Andy tees up. What's up, Andy? He says, hey, baby and team. Question. By the way, Mohammed, thanks for those questions. Great questions, buddy. Questions regarding about GMB for RYS stacks. I know Marco commented that GMB is not necessary when ordering an RYS stack, but still highly recommended to get a certified GMB to solidify the business existent. Yeah, it's basically to like validate the entity, Andy. I am working on affiliate websites only. Also, I do not operate in the U.S. Do I really need a GMB in my case? And is my RYS stack still powerful without GMB? Marco, what's your thoughts on that?
Yes, absolutely. Outside the U.S., whatever country you're in, go into your niche or whatever affiliate product you're selling, and look at the other businesses. And look at the maps and see if they're verified. If you're in an unverified country, then there's 2 things that I'm going to say. You don't need to be verified. I can guarantee that most people in that industry will not be running an RYS stack, so you have an unfair advantage to start with. But since they're unverified, if you can verify your entity, now not only do you have an unfair advantage over them, but you're sending clear signals to Google that you're like head and shoulders above the rest as far as what Google wants to see, which is something that's verified, something that's consolidated, and something that has a clear footprint. And so when verification and everything else comes to your country, to your language, or whatever it is that you're doing, you're already there. So you won't have to do it. So why not prepare for what's coming? We just talked about, when's the best time to plant a tree? Adam said, well, 10 years ago. So if you could do it now and in anticipation of what's coming, why not? So it's going to work. I can't say with 100% certainty, but I'm almost 100% sure that this will work without the verified GMB. I mean, you can still put yourself on the map if it's an unverified country, and then you just carry on as usual, because you should be able to add your website address and your phone number and whatever else when you do the Google My Business listing. I still suggest that you do the Google My Business listing, go through the process and have it appear on maps. It won't be verified. Become a local guide and do it. I mean, local guides can get away with just about anything. So become a local guide, move up, right, as you go along, and become a level whatever guide. Add your business on the map. It doesn't have to exist since it's not going to get verified. Once Google accepts it, then it's just like a verified business, and then you could use that. The problem will come if someone comes along who lives in that place, or the business in that place, if there is one, and they verify the business. So why go through all that trouble of a fake business when you could do it right the first time? That's I hope that made sense. It makes sense, total sense in my head.
Okay.
Hey, real quick, Bradley, I just wanted to cover something that I just saw a couple questions on the page. That somebody was asking, how many days does the MasterMIND trial cover? It's 7 days for $1, so it gives you an entire week. And then the second question, was same. How long is the $1 trial for? Jim, it's for a week. So you're in for a week. You got a chance. That gives us a chance to get the phone call or hangout with you, so you can talk to us, and we can go over things and then go from there.
Yeah, I was looking for. Unfortunately, Roman's not on. The next question he has. Is Roman on? No, he's not. Okay. All right. So the next question was, from Andy says, is there any alternative besides GMB to solidify my business existence? And yes, Andy, there's a number of things. Well, first of all, syndication networks are a great way to help validate the entity, because those are all the common social media and Web 2.0 properties that most brands have. So by setting up a branded syndication network, interlinking everything, it helps to really tell Google this is a valid business, right? However, that's not in itself, as I would suggest that you also would at least submit the business details that you would have. Remember, even an affiliate marketing business, like affiliate businesses, guys, as an affiliate marketer, you can still have a business, right? You can still register your home address or a business address or whatever, and build citations and everything else. Why not? It's a business, right? It might be a virtual business, but that doesn't mean it's not an actual business, right? And so my point is, citations are great. And one of the things that you can do is submit your details to the aggregators, the business aggregators, and like the big ones, Newstar Localese, Axiom, Factual, Info or Express Update, or Express, whatever. It's Info USA. It's that, whatever. It's all the same company. They're another one of them. So I was looking to see if we had that in Serp Space. I think we do. I just don't know where. Because it should be part of the actual citation packages. But another one that I've used in the past was Moz Local. They have a, let me see if I can find it real quick. They have the ability to, one of these things here, this might be it. It might be this one. Let's take a look at this one. Anyways, the point is, guys, one of the, Moz Local had a service where they would basically submit, it looks like it's gone up, maybe it's $99 per year, but they would submit to all 4 of the major local aggregators, directory aggregators, for you for, is a year. They do it every year, they'll update it or whatever, and it only costs one-time fee. Well, you have to, renew it every year. But if you want to see what I'm talking about, let's see, the local ecosystem. And this is what I'm talking about, these right here. So this is the local search ecosystem. And if you take a look, you can see that the big aggregators, I know it's probably small because of the Hangout, guys. I'll just zoom in. But Info Group, that was the one I was trying to think of. Info Group, Newstar Localese, Factual, and the other one was Axiom. I'm sorry, Axiom's right there. Those are the 4 big ones. If you can actually get listed in those, which again, you can do it separately, guys, or each one, but it's stupid because if you go to each individual, like Info Group, I believe is free. Axiom is free, but you got to submit corporate documents like an LLC agreement or corporate bylaws, that kind of stuff. Like they require company documents to verify the business is in existence. So that on its own, you may not be able to do unless you have that. Newstar Localese, it's like if you go to them, they're going to charge you $30 a month to and you have to pay yearly. It's like $350 a year to list your business there, which is dumb because you can go to Moz Local and spend $100 and they'll do it for you, right? And then Factual, I believe that's free as well. Factual is what feeds into Apple, so iOS and Siri and all that kind of stuff. So those are pretty much your 4 big ones. Yext, you can do Yext, but that's kind of automated, and Yext has made a lot of improvements recently, but personally, I'm not a huge fan of them. They may be different now, but I just wanted to point that out. This is what I'm talking about. That right there, if you can get listed in those, that will basically validate the entity. It's still not as in my opinion as important as getting the Google Plus. At least not initially. I think having the Google My Business listing verified is the most critical. But if you can't do that, or you're in an area where they're just not verified, this would be a good way to validate the entity to Google, because you see all of these feed into Google. Does that make sense? Great question, though, Andy. I'm going to keep moving, guys. Okay, the last one is, assuming I wanted to leverage the power of a GMB, what can you advise a non-US person to get how to get a US address for registering a GMB? The way that I've done it in the past, like out of state, Andy, is to use Craigslist to create an ad offering to pay. I've paid $100. I usually pay $100 for somebody to allow me to use, and usually it's a renter. Most of the time, homeowners aren't going to do it, but renters don't care if their rental property address is listed as a business address. And so I've gone to Craigslist and posted ads in the city that I needed the physical address at, and paid $100 for somebody to allow me to use their address and to receive a postcard and send me the text, the verification PIN number. And typically, obviously I just pay them $100 once I've received the PIN they've received the card and they've sent me the PIN. But I know people in our mastermind, or at least in Syndication Academy, some of our members that have also done the same thing using Craigslist have done it for as little as $50. I always just offered 100, but $50 is one way to do it, and that works. Might take you a little bit of time, but it absolutely works, man. Especially renters, because renters are typically, I don't want to paint with such a broad brush, but a lot of times renters will, $100 in cash to use their address is pretty good. Any other ideas, guys, before I move on? All right. Sam Bailey's up. What's up, Sam? He met us in Portland. He says, I know you recommend sticking to a consistent posting schedule for money sites, but does that apply to adding new pages? No, Sam, that's just for posts. Yeah, it's just for posts. Good question, though, but yeah, that's just for posts.
Yeah, good thing. I would also suggest that, in terms of we have these scheduling or the consistent scheduling, we have this question a lot, because we know that kind of content is one of the most, I wouldn't say difficult, but definitely one of the most time consuming, is that you take the curation route, Sam, so that you can actually get consistent with that. Curation is one of the best ways to actually generate high quality content fast, without copying, without, nothing that will penalize you, and dedicate some more time to the money keywords. Money keywords meaning those high volume keywords and those long blog posts that can potentially give you some more presence and real estate on the search engines.
Yeah. Yeah, content curation is absolutely the way to go, because you can outsource that, Sam. You don't even have to have particularly skilled writers to do content curation. They have to, have a fairly good grasp on the English language if you're doing, English sites. But honestly, I've got, I have curators that curate on money sites, and then I have curators that curate on feeder sites or Web 2 properties and stuff like that for additional link building. And it's so efficient and inexpensive. It's a much better way to generate content consistently than trying to use either automated content or shitty content farm content, which is just awful, which I would never use for anything other than link building, perhaps. Okay. Andy says, what is your opinion on killer keyword tool by Network Empire? Thanks. I wish I had one. Matt DeCruz, the owner of Network Empire now, we're doing some collaborative work with him at the moment, and he offered to give me an account for killer keyword tool. I just have never actually used it. So to be honest, I should have an opinion on that, but I haven't had a chance to play with it, guys. Andy, it's a great question. After I do have some time to play with it, I'll update here in a subsequent Hump Day Hangout. Okay. If I remember at the time that you asked, I'll try to tag you once I have played with it. All right. Sorry, I don't have an answer for you at the moment, guys. The keyword research that I do is that it's been the same for years. The only thing I've added recently to my keyword research that has not changed, or that wasn't there before, excuse me, is stuff that I've learned from Jeffrey Smith's SEO bootcamp training, which is fabulous. It is phenomenal on-page SEO training. It's the best I've ever seen, and that's no joke. And he's got, the first 12 videos are all about keyword research and discovery, and I learned a lot from him on various ways. And it's pretty much the only keyword tool that he uses, well, besides Power Suggest Pro, which you guys know has been our go-to keyword tool forever. That's this here. So anyways, the only one that he really uses besides that is a paid tool would be SEMrush. Not something I've used much of either. But there's a lot. If you go through that course, it's amazing on the just the vast amount of data that you will know the market in and out by the time you're done going through that keyword research process. But besides what I learned from him, I pretty much stick to the same process, which is going to Google Trends to start using Trends to develop my seed keyword list. And then I go over to Power Suggest Pro and I drill into those keywords and I build lists from there. I also look at Google related searches now. And I just compile a list into a spreadsheet, and it works. That's what I've done ever since. For years, and it just works really well. I think a lot of keyword tools guys are just a lot of fluff, a lot of bells and whistles. I personally, I mean, some people find them absolutely invaluable, but to me, I've tried, no bullshit. I've tested at least 20 different keyword tools over the last several years, you know, and I always revert back to my very simple manual process, and it just works really well. In fact, I've even trained an outsourcer to do that for me now. So now I just send the company or, you know, the project details over to an outsourcer, and she actually builds all the keywords stuff for me. It takes her about a day to do full keyword research, but it's done. All right. Next up, Yannin says, hey, Semantic team, thanks for everything you guys do for the SEO community. I need some guidance with RYS stacks. If I already have an RYS stack, but I would like to power up a main city that I have found greater opportunity in, what should I order? Marco?
Yeah, this is actually pretty simple. They would just order another RYS stack, but you wouldn't do the gsite. This RYS stack would be a page inside the main RYS stack that you have, and you just build up the city, and that drive stack would have everything that's relevant to that new city where you found that greater opportunity. So all you have to do is contact us, contact the people at Serp Space, order the stack, right? A simple stack, and let them know what it is you need. I will get with Jessen so that he knows exactly what needs to be done. And it's really that simple. It'll get done. We'll give you the instructions on how you need to make Jessen manager of the drive stack for the build. I mean, and it's really that simple.
Awesome. Thank you. Greg's up. What's up, Greg? He says, happy holidays. It's been a wild ride again this year being part of the group. Thanks for all you guys do to enriching our lives with knowledge and providing us with the opportunity to become real businessmen in the digital marketing arena. Cheers. Thank you, Greg. We certainly like having you around in our various groups and engaging with people, and we appreciate you as well. So thank you, Greg.
Definitely. Thank you, Greg. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. All right, Gregory Haynes is up. He says, hey, guys, what's up? Just wondering two things. Who do you use for phone verified Google accounts, and what's the best website cloning software? Thanks in advance, Greg. Happy holidays, everyone. Okay, I've been using two providers for phone verified accounts. bulkpva.com is one, and the other one is, shit, I probably don't have it handy, but let's see if I do. By email accounts. Here we go. You know what? I don't have the other dudes saved, and I apologize. This other guy's name is Anowar. I could probably find him in Skype and post him later. I think Greg, right here. Yes, Greg actually posted this one. This is the other one, and this is probably Anowar's site. Yes, it is. So the two providers that I've used are this one that Greg posted. His name's Anowar. And in Bulk PVA, that's this guy. These are the pretty much anytime we need phone verified accounts, guys, we go to these two, one of these two providers. They're both very good. So if either one of you are watching right now, guys, you're both very good. Thank you. I know there are sometimes problems with phone verified accounts, guys. And what I like about these guys is they typically take care of them rather quickly. It's not an issue. However, you guys just remember, Google is continuing to crack down more and more on, you know, trying to confirm or validate new email addresses, and it is definitely becoming more difficult. So it's not something that I like to do at all anymore. I try not to ever have to create, like if I do create a new account, it's usually because it's I don't do it enough from my IP that it triggers a lot of like phone verification stuff. Although what I would recommend is you just buy them because it's so much easier that way. So those are the two that I would recommend. If anybody else has any other suggestions, feel free to drop them on the event page. I'm cool with that. We're not making any affiliate commissions on that. We're just directing people to those providers because they've been good. All right. Also, what's the best website cloning software? That's a good question. It's been a while since I've done that. You know, if you've got a good host, a host will do it for you. If you don't, I used to use a script. It was like a PHP script that was it was from Peter Garrity, and I don't even know if that still works. Another thing you can use is MainWP. They have a cloning plugin, you know, an add-on or extension or whatever for MainWP that works really well. So that might be something that you could try as MainWP. Do any of you guys have specific suggestions for that?
Yeah, it's been a while the same. I think the last time I did stuff, it wasn't like taking someone else's. I was cloning my sites. I main WP, but beyond that, yeah.
Yeah.
And throwing whiteboards around. So I'll be right back.
Okay. Does anybody else have another suggestion for cloning?
No, main WP.
Okay. There you go, Greg. Excuse me, Gregory. Okay, Buddhas. Okay. Hey, everyone. Happy holidays. This has been boggling my mind forever. I have been requesting GMB verification postcard for over 2 years now. Aha. I'm from SA. I'm not sure if Big G still uses snail mail. Every time it expires, I re-request and then I give up. Tried their new virtual chat button. They don't seem very helpful. As per G, T, and C, I guess terms and conditions. Blah, blah. Please respond or please resend request for postcard. I finished. Okay. You know, I've had issues like that occur. And the last time that occurred, I was able to, fortunately, the GMB listing was published. It wasn't verified, but it was published. I think they stopped doing that. I think now it won't publish until it's verified. However, if you said that you set that up 2 years ago, it's probably published, but not verified. And if that's the case, you can, what worked for me was, again, one of our, I mentioned his name earlier, but one of our longtime MasterMIND members is a level, like he was a level 5 local guide at the time. It was before it went to level 10. And he actually went, I reached out and told him I was having the same issue. GMB was not sending the verification postcard. And so I reached out to him and he went, because it was a published listing, unverified, but published, he was able to go actually submit a review and add a photo. And since he was a level 5 local guide, it was like within 5 days of him doing that, the postcard arrived. And I think it was just because somebody that had some clout with Google as a local guide went and basically validated it as a true business from just uploading adding a review and uploading an image. I think that's what triggered it to actually send. Now, I can't confirm that, guys. I don't know 100% for sure. It may just be coincidence. It's unlikely to me that it was coincidence, but that worked. And so now there has been, prior to that, there's been other times where I've had the same issue happen and I just gave up eventually too. I would just like rent another box, or like for me, I usually use, PO boxes. So I would just close out the one box and open another, even if it was in the same post office, and then resubmit with the new address details, which is just changing the box number basically. And it would show up. Sometimes I don't know why, it's just a glitch. Now, I'm not, guys, if you have one physical address and it's not something like a PO box, then you may not be able to change the address. I get that. So what I would recommend doing is perhaps trying to get somebody that is a, higher level local guide to do and see if maybe that triggers it. I don't know that that was actually what caused it, but again, it seems very coincidental. Does anybody else have another suggestion for that? Okay. Currently not. James is up. Looking to purchase a traffic authority stack from Serp Space, but wanted to ask if you guys can provide login info when completed, or does this become an issue because of logging in from a different IP? No, as far as and James, don't hold me to this without confirming this with the Serp Space guys. But as far as because that is some, if Roman was here, he'd be able to answer that, but he's not here today. So I'm going to tell you that I'm almost 100% sure that you get full login details for all the properties set up. I can't imagine that we would not give you access to the properties that you purchased. Again, that's something that more Roman has a handle on than I do. So I don't say that I absolutely said with certainty, but I'm almost 100% sure that we would give. I mean, it seems silly to me to not give people login details for something they purchased. So I would just reach out to support@serpspace.com and ask that question. Okay. As far as logging in from a different IP, don't worry about it. That's once the accounts are created and the content and everything has been added and been set up, they send it to you. You log in, bind it to your IP, and so be it. If it triggers re-verification, we'll work through getting it re-verified, and then it will be bound to your IP, and it's not an issue. Okay. I say this in case I ever need to add more content to the stack. Also been making many purchases when you provide deals and have been waiting patiently and watching my inbox for any generic Christmas coupon for Serp Space. Got any?
No, we don't. But, good on you for watching. But we run specials from time to time, but there's nothing planned right now specifically for that.
Yeah. But January is right around the corner, and we got lots of stuff coming up. So Ralph is up. Ralph says, question, I'm sure if this has been covered before. However, I could not find it in any of your videos. Okay, this is a question I was actually basically just talking about a second ago, Ralph. PO boxes for business location. I heard some say that Google will bash you for that, and yet I see you guys are using a PO box. Yes, sir. I'm asking because I have a client in the distant suburbs of Minneapolis. They need to rank in Minneapolis metro area. They used to have an MPLS PO box, but dropped it because they heard that Google frowns upon PO boxes. Can you enlighten me? Thanks. Yeah, Google says they don't like it, but they also don't like you building links, right? They don't like you doing SEO. You do that too, don't you, Ralph? And Ralph, I'm not picking on you, buddy. I'm just saying, like, yes, Google does frown on that, but Google also frowns on SEO. Google frowns on link building. Google frowns on pretty much everything that we do to try to manipulate search engine rankings. So I would just put that out of your mind. You know, white hat versus black hat. Fuck that. There are no hats. SEO is SEO, period. Okay. Google frowns on any SEO except for publishing content and just expecting like everybody to go link to it naturally and read it and love it and all that kind of stuff. Well, good luck with that. You know what I mean? And so my point is SEO is SEO. So don't worry about it. Now, as far as the PO boxes, yeah, they say that they, you know, frown on it, but it still works. They are getting more. It's becoming more difficult sometimes to verify listings. What I recommend that you do if you're going to set up a PO box is that you use a new Gmail account, a persona-based account. Don't do it under the primary business account. Don't do that. Create a profile, a new Gmail account. Flesh out the profile. Set up the Google Plus profile. Do all the stuff to make it look real. And then go create a Google My Business listing with that profile as the owner. It doesn't matter. You can still brand it for the same company that you're doing the work for. It makes no difference. All it is, and I'm using air quotes right now, the GMB listing owner will be the profile, the profile that you create. Then after it's been created and verified, then you add your email address, your Gmail address, or the main account Gmail address, whoever the GMB business owner is, the profile, the Google My Business the owner of that account for your client. You can add them as a manager, right? And then eventually you can even transfer ownership. But what I wouldn't do that. I would still leave the persona, the profile as the owner, and just have yourself and your actual client as managers. And then the reason for that is because what I found is, like, for some of my lead gen sites where I've got multiple locations, I found by trying to create GMB listings with multiple PO boxes under the same account, it will often flag the account and terminate a GMB listing, like the newly created listing as spam. It will flag it as spam, and it will require a bunch of additional verification, which is damn near impossible. So what I do is now, and I've been able to work around that by just creating new profile accounts and then adding the GMB listing under the new profile, and then just adding my main primary lead gen GMB as a manager. That's one way I've been able, that's the workaround. Now, that said, last thing I want to mention is when you go to do the PO box method, you have to use the street address option that the post office gives you. So you can't just put a PO box in, like in GMB. It won't accept it. You have to use the street address of the post office and then the box number. And all you need to do that, and this comes up almost every week. We should have this in a frequently asked question. If we don't, Adam, maybe we should tag this because this comes up almost every week. Let me, it's this right here.
Also, I wanted to jump in real quick. I think it's important that while there's no white hat or black hat, there's elf hats. And I think that's important to recognize today.
You mean like this?
Yes. Thank you.
White hat, black hat, or elf hat SEO. There you go.
Those are ears, right? Okay, that's what, because yeah, that shit cracks me up. Anyway, sorry.
Elf hat SEO. All right, let me go back to being serious. All right, so here is the PDF, guys. This is, you can get this at the post office. They'll hand it to you. You just got to ask for it, or you can download this, print it out yourself, fill it out ahead of time, and that's it. It doesn't cost anything extra. All you do is once you get your PO box number, then they'll give you the street address from the the post office itself, and you use the post office street address as your business address, and then you get the number sign and then whatever your box number is. And that's all you got to do. Okay. So anyways, I'm going to drop this on the page. Wow, we got a lot of questions, and we're already at 5:10. We gotta rock and roll. Okay, this is the PO box street address option.
You know, while you're doing that, it's just funny that Google tells you a whole bunch of things that you're not supposed to do, or that you should do. Like when you're running ads, for example, in Adwords, you're required to have terms of service and privacy policy on your Adwords page, correct? Or
Yeah.
it gets rejected. But haven't we shown that's not true?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I
take
just
it all
tested
with a
that.
grain of salt.
I tested that over the weekend with a I can't really talk about it, but I set up a YouTube ad with the target URL as something that I would have never imagined would have gotten approved, but it was on a Google domain and it absolutely got approved, and it was pretty fucking crazy, to be honest with you. So
It's amazing what Google will accept and what it won't.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Haven't we tested setting up an ad to a blank GDoc and it worked?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So anyways, okay, Jenia. What's up, Jenia? It says, side note, hey fella, side note, Bradley, I subscribed to your daily emails on Mindset. Awesome content. Thank you for sharing your experience and your thoughts. I have read some of the books you mentioned, like Stephen Covey's 7 Habits. That's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Outstanding book, guys. Highly recommend it. And made some discoveries about myself and how I scripted myself. Some things definitely need to be changed. Thank you, Jenny. I appreciate that. Guys, for those of you that aren't aware, maybe came on late, bradleybenner.com, you can opt into a mindset series of emails, as well as see some of the videos that I've been trying to do a weekly video about mindset stuff, success habits, and it's really a labor of love. So go check it out. Thank you, Jenny. I saw that you did sign up recently, and you know, keep the feedback coming, man. Feel free to reply to any of the emails that you get daily with any of your thoughts and stuff like that. I love the feedback, guys. Question: do you keep your PO box addresses for your local lead gen sites, or can you cancel service after it is confirmed with Google? Okay, I have always said, but I've always said one thing, which I'm going to state here in a moment, and then I'm going to tell you that I'm kind of backtracking a bit on what I've always done. So let me explain what I mean. I have always kept my PO box addresses and just renewed them. Some of them are on 6-month terms. Most of them are on 12-month terms, and they're inexpensive enough that I just have always renewed them. Because here's the reason why. Because it was the second Google Places way back when. It was called Google Places, right? The second time that I ever set up a lead gen strictly Google My Business listing was for a tree service company. And it was, I used UPS at the time, and, you know, the UPS store boxes. And so that was my mailing address. And it was $36 a month for that stupid mailbox. And so I kept it just long enough to get the postcard for verification. And then I didn't want to spend $36 a month on a stupid post, you know, a box, a mailbox. So I canceled it. Well, I think it was maybe a year later, maybe 18 months later, one of the tree service competitors made a complaint to Google about it being a UPS store was the address. And so Google required re-verification. And to be honest, they called, and so it was a phone verification, but then they also wanted to re-verify via postcard, so snail mail. And I didn't have the box anymore, so I was unable. And I lost that listing, which was ranking #1 in maps, which is why the competitor was pissed off, because it knocked him down to #2. And so anyways, I lost that address because I was unable to re-verify that listing via regular mail. So from that point on, every time and by the way, don't ever use UPS stores anymore. But PO boxes, it's still working right now. Okay. So I've just kept them because PO boxes are typically a lot cheaper. In more metropolitan areas, it costs as much as like $164 a year, at least in my areas, for 12 months of renting a PO box. In some of the more smaller areas, like it's as little as like $46 for a year, which is, I mean, that's incredibly cheap. So it's kind of worth keeping, just in the event that I ever have to re-verify via mail. That said, it's never happened to me since that. And one of the problems with keeping the PO boxes that I've experienced over the last few years, especially because I got so many of them now, is about once per quarter. So once every 3 months or so, I literally take an entire day and drive all over Northern Virginia and all over Virginia, basically, going from post office to post office, just cleaning the boxes out. Because as a business, a registered business address, you're going to get a shit ton of spam mail. All it is solicitation mail, and it will fill up your mailbox, and then you're going to start getting calls or emails from the post office saying your box is full, and they're going to shut it down if you don't come in and clear it out. And so, that's something I try to do quarterly, but to be honest with you, I only do it about every 6 months, or when I get the warning letters from the post office that they're going to terminate my box because it's overflowing. And that happens a lot, guys. And to be honest with you, I've never had, ever since that first time, had to re-verify via mail. And so I've actually just recently, for some of my tree service sites, started to allow those PO boxes to expire, only because I'm tired of driving to them all the time to pick up the mail. It's probably something I could outsource, but I haven't done that. So, hopefully that won't bite me in the ass at some point. But it's been probably 4 years since the last time I've had to re-verify. So the short answer is no. The long answer is to guarantee or to kind of reduce the possibility of you losing it in case they want to send mail verification a second time to re-verify. Keep it. So it's really up to you, Jenia. Personally, right now, to me, the pain in the ass, the amount of time required to go drive around and pick up trash mail. And I've even literally talked to the postmasters at multiple post offices where I have PO boxes and said to them, is there any way I can just give you guys permission to just throw out the mail? Because I don't need it. And I tell them that it's just solicitation mail. And they say, no, we're not allowed to do that. We can set up forwarders and all that stuff, but we can't just throw it out. So to me, it's just a pain in the ass. All right. Good question, though. Jason says, excuse me, could you elaborate on your use of the gsite creator? Yeah, we answer that question almost weekly. That's okay, Jason. I'm not upset about it. But this should probably be another frequently asked question. Somebody wants to tag this, guys. Could you elaborate on your use of gsite creator, namely how to use it with RYS stacks? Yes. The way I use it is to build basically link networks. We don't call them PBNs because they're public sites, right? We're not trying to hide much. We just create a bunch of sites using Google Site Generator to use as a link network to power up. So for especially with RYS stacks, I've mentioned this before, and we had a thread in our Facebook group going about which pissed Marco off and me off too, really, last week about something similar. But if you're using our RYS methods, and you've built a gsite to correspond with your stack, right? An associated Google site to go with your stack, then use that as your target URL for your gsite creator sites. In other words, build a link network that is built or that is linking to your Google site that's associated with your Drive stack. It's a great way to power up your Google site. That's typically how I'm using it. Now, some people have gotten pretty good results or been able to achieve results with ranking the Google sites themselves that are created with the gsite's creator. I haven't seen that, and I haven't even really attempted to make that happen because I specifically started using it from day one as a link network to build link networks using Google sites, because you're just, you're using all Google properties and it works well. So that's how I've used it. And I've tested both creating the 8-page sites, so like a single site with 8 pages, as well as creating multiple sites. And either way, it works really well for powering up the Drive or the Google site as part of the Drive stack. You can also use it to link directly to your buddy site, guys, if you wanted. Just make sure the content is decent, and that's part of the reason why I'd rather use it to build links to the the Google site as part of the Drive stack, because then you don't have to be as worried about the quality of the content on the sites themselves. Does that make sense? So that's how I use it, guys. Again, this is a question that comes up almost every week, and I answer it the same way every week intentionally, guys, because I don't want to confuse it. And some people come and ask questions. Not you, Jason. You're fine. Thank you for the question. I appreciate that. But sometimes people come and say, I haven't been able to rank a single gsite created with the gsite creator. This thing's crap. Well, that's not how we promoted it. We've always promoted it as a link network builder. It's something that can be set up very easily and quickly, and it works really, really well for powering up the the Google site as part of the Drive stack. Okay.
And the way that it works even better is when you have an especially difficult keyword that you're trying to rank for, whether it's in the city that you're targeting or in the adjacent city, is to build a page for that city and keyword, and then build the gsite where you're going to link build from the gsite creator to that page on the main gsite. And what works even better is just building a drive stack inside your main drive stack that's city specific, and creating the page on the main gsite and link building to that. Because all the power stays within that one same drive instead of having it external. Now you could always add, if it's still stubborn, then you would go with the gsite creator and hit both the drive stack and the page that you've created on that main gsite and link build through that, and even add additional. You use LSI or whatever to target that page so that you get it moving. But there's so many things that you could do, and so many more things that I could tell you inside RYS Academy Reloaded if you were a member and you were in the Facebook group, that I cannot share here. So that's as far as I'll go with that.
Yeah, and as Marco just mentioned, yeah, like if you've got a particular keyword, guys, one of the best things that you can do is that you're trying to push using the gsite creator to build link networks is go take that term and that keyword that you're trying to rank for, and go to trends and plug it in there. And like if it's got a local modifier, lose the local modifier, plug the main keyword in, then pull the seed keywords, the related, the top related and the rising related keywords from trends that are associated with that seed term, right? Again, lose the local modifier and just go after the main keyword without the modifier. Okay. And then go to trends, pull the seed keywords that are related, then go drill down on them using Power Suggest Pro or something similar, and then create your gsite using the long tail keywords that you've pulled back from like Power Suggest Pro. That is a fantastic way to do it, because essentially, guys, you're using gsite in a way to build like an external silo. Does that make sense? So you stack all the long tail related keywords into basically a silo structure of external gsite, which will power up that one main keyword. It's incredibly powerful. Okay. So that's how we've been using it, and it works really well. Guys, innovate. Take a tool and figure out how to make it work the best to your advantage. That's what we're talking about. Because again, when we get, and I'm not talking to you, Jason, but when we get people that post questions like, I bought the gsite creator and I built some pages and none of them are ranking, this thing's crap. We get that kind of crap all the time, and you need to innovate, figure out ways to use it. The beautiful thing about innovating with tools and stuff, guys, is you have an unfair advantage over other people using the same tool. Right? Does that make sense? So when you use like a gsite creator, the way that we're talking about, most people aren't doing that, or, and so the point is you're going to have an unfair advantage. Okay. Rank Master. And by the way, Merry Christmas to you as well, Jenny. Rank Master, happy holidays to everybody. Question on adding content to secondary IFTTT networks. Some of the sites need to be posted to via another. So on a secondary ring, if I add a feed to WordPress to add to Tumblr, for example, it's going to be duplicate content on both sites, as the purpose of these feeds is to add content across the ring that isn't all related to the main site. Is this a problem or just another example of me overthinking things? Okay, Rank Master, here's a great opportunity for me to point out our knowledge base at support.semanticmastery.com. And I want to show you, we have covered this before as well. And so this is just a good opportunity for me to point this knowledge base out. And then I've got a frequently asked question that will specifically answer that question for you. So that's why I want to point this out, okay? So go to the knowledge base, guys, support@semanticmastery.com. Click on knowledge base, and you'll see that we have a lot of frequently asked questions in here already. So if you come down to Syndication Academy, you can see that there's 34 questions in here. And if we scroll down, and I want to show you, let's see, how many networks will it take to rank? I love that question, don't I? Okay, here's one of them. Here's another one. Let me point out the correct one. By the way, for Mohammed, here's one of the, this is a very basic drawing. We've got some other ones that are better, but this is one of the first ones I created. Don't ask me how long it took me to create that graphic, because it's embarrassing. But anyways, that's so again, here's a couple of things that will, guys, the syndication with tiered networks can be a bit complicated. It doesn't, it can seem complicated. I try to break it down to the best of my ability on how to set up the second tier syndications correctly. And that I believe is this one. Let me just double check. This is the one that I think I have all my drawings on, sketches on, maybe not. Stand by. No, okay, so there must be one more. Though this one might be it. Let me check one more. Just stand by for a minute. Try this one too. Anyways, it's in here, guys. Yeah, this is probably it. I believe this is it. I was trying to find the actual graphic, just a shot of the graphic, because there's one that I did a shit ton of sketching on with arrows and all that kind of stuff. It might be this one, guys. Anyways, what I recommend, if I can actually find this specific video, I'll post it on the page later on when we close this down, guys. But it's in here. It's in one of these frequently asked questions, and it might be one of these three that I just opened up here. But anyways, basically I go through, and it's probably this one. How do tiered IFTTT networks work? Okay. And essentially, oh, this is it. I bet you this is it, because that's the graphic. No, that's not it. Anyways, what you want to do on a conceptual level is just on the tier 2 trigger points, guys. So the tier 2 IFTTT accounts. So remember, you've got your branded account, which is going to be tier 1. And so you're going to have an IFTTT account associated with that brand. But then on your tier 2s, remember, tier 2A is triggered by Blogger, right? The Blogger from tier 1. Tier 2B is triggered from the Blogger, the Tumblr on tier 1, right? And then the last one is tier 2C, which is triggered from the WordPress from tier 1, right? And so what you want to do is add additional content sources in the RSS feeds on the second tier IFTTT accounts for each one of those. Remember, tier 1A is going to have its own IFTTT account. Tier 2, or excuse me, tier 2A, tier 2B, and tier 2C will each have their own individual IFTTT accounts. And so there's where you inject, you set up a whole nother set of applets, right? So you take a content feed from a related content source, and you add a whole entire additional set of applets. Your first set of applets in your tier 2 IFTTT account is going to be triggered from, in this case, let's say Blogger RSS feed, right? So then you're going to take additional content source number 1 RSS feed, and you're going to create another entire set of applets in that same IFTTT account. So that now you have 2 sources publishing to that second tier network. The 2 sources being, the first one being your money site, which first syndicates to Blogger tier 1, then syndicates to your tier 2 network. And then your second content source syndicates directly to tier 2 network because it's triggered at the tier 2 network point, not before that. There's no daisy chaining there. Does that make sense? And then you do the same thing for content source number 2, add another 15 to 20 applets, and content source number 3, another 15 to 20 applets. Does that make sense? So by the time you're done, if let's say you've got 15 syndication points in your network, by the time you're done, if you have 3 content sources, additional content sources, plus your original, you're going to end up with 60 applets in that one account. Does that make sense? It's a bit of a pain in the ass to set up, but you only need to do it once. So hopefully that makes sense. And again, you can find some more detailed training about that. It's been answered several times in the frequently asked questions. Hopefully you'll find one that will satisfy that for you. Good question. Ivan's up. God, we're at 5:30 already and 90 minutes in. First, I want to thank you guys for all the great content you provide. I've been following Hump Hangout since May of 2016 and learned a lot from you and still learning since SEO is always changing. We appreciate that, Ivan. Thank you for always being here and engaging. We appreciate that. My questions are about the reviews we get on GMB listing. Where's the best place to embed them? Can we use schema to mark them up? Okay. Embedding reviews, you can embed the map itself, but the actual review, it's interesting. I've played with that a bit. Either way, you know how you can get a share URL from a review. Like, let's just walk through the process, guys, because I want everybody to benefit from this. So if we go to Semantic, mastery. All right. So if we come over here and we click on the map, you can see that if we scroll down to the reviews section right here, and we click on where it says 17 reviews. Okay, so each one of these, Chris, he just, I think, recently joined the mastermind, and he also reviewed us. Thank you, Chris. We appreciate that. If you click on the share URL, you're going to get the embed map function, which you can do, or you can get the share link to the individual review. And what I mean by that is if we copy this URL, guys, we come over here and we'll paste it in, paste and go. It's going to open up maps, but to just that one review. Does that make sense? So guys, if you weren't aware of this, this is incredibly powerful because take a look at like how many linking opportunities we have, additional internal linking opportunities we have with this one listing, right? Because here, let me just mention what, and I'll get back to answering the question in a minute, but I just want to point this out. You've got your normal maps URL. Then you've got the share URL that you can shorten, right? Okay, so you've got that as well. You can embed maps. You guys already knew that, right? But then you got the review page. I can click on the reviews. Now, this is a separate and unique URL, which now shows all the reviews. So this is another URL you can build links to. You can shorten this URL if you'd like because it's crazy long and ugly, but you can shorten it using a Google, you know, the goo.gl Google shortener, URL shortener, right? So you can do that. Then that's another additional linking point. Then each and every one of these reviews is a separate linking point, right? Then back that out for a minute. What else can we find? Let's go take a look at photos, guys. Every one of these photos, look, I was still fat then. Look at that. Look at the gut. Goodness gracious. But let's just take a look. If we come over here and click on these little 3 dots, guys, see the share button? Grab the share button and boom, there's more linking opportunities. You guys see that? So you can take your Google My Business listing and go extract all the URLs that you can possibly find from your Google My Business listing and start building links to those. And so that you're powering it up from multiple entry points. You guys get that? Very, very powerful. All right. So let's jump back and try to finish answering the question. Where's the best place to embed them? All right. So I'm not going to show you how to do it, but I'll tell you on a conceptual level because it's Christmas and I feel like giving. And Ivan, you've been following us for a long time. Something that works really, really well is to take the review. So let's go back to a review. Now, I don't know if any of you guys are using David Sprague's rep videos. Probably many of you are. They're great for this kind of stuff, guys. And this is a method that I've been doing with the press release stuff that works really, really well. And again, I'm just going to talk about it conceptually, and then we're going to move on because we do cover this a lot more in depth in like MasterMInd and stuff like that. But one of the things that I like to do is take a review, create a review commercial out of the, you know, using the rep video program. I love those things, man. They're inexpensive and they look nice. They're high perceived value, and it gives me an opportunity to use a to use a review as a link building opportunity in many, many different ways. So the first thing is take the review and create a review commercial out of it if you have the ability to do so. You don't have to use David Sprague stuff to do it, guys. You can have an animated template, like explainer video template that you just use for this kind of stuff. So just get creative if you don't have access to that, okay? Then once you've created the video, optimize it for your keywords, upload it to YouTube, obviously push it through syndication networks, then go ahead and grab the embed from the video and create a blog post on the client's blog or your money, whatever, your site's blog, right? For that specific business. Then create a post, embed the video, then also take the text of the review and put that in the description area or, you know, in the content area of the post, which, by the way, that review text should also be in the description of the video when you upload it to YouTube, right? You could also link to that specific review in YouTube, but that's what you're going to do in the blog post as well. So you embed the video, you add the review text, then you're going to link to it. So see full review on Google Maps here, add your share URL. You can embed the map if you'd like. Again, go to share, go to embed. So now you've got the video and the map embedded, but I would still link to the share URL as well. And I would say, see full Google Maps review here and link directly over to it. Okay. You do the same thing with Yelp, guys. The Yelp reviews can be embedded, right? If you go to, let's just walk through that too real quick. Actually, no, I said I wasn't going to walk through this entirely. So just know that you can do the same thing for Yelp. You can go to Yelp, go to an individual review, click the share button, and get an embed code. And now you can embed a Yelp review, right? So if you create a review commercial from the Yelp review, now you embed that instead of the Google My Business. Okay, you can do the same thing with Facebook reviews. You can embed individual Facebook reviews. So now you've got a video optimized with the review as part of the text and everything else. You've got a link to the share URL. You can embed the map. You've got the actual review text, which, yes, you can mark up with review schema. And then you publish the post, which syndicates out across your branded network and all your social media properties. Very, very powerful. And the last, the thing to supercharge it is then publish a press release announcing your 5-star review that the client received, the newest 5-star review that the client received. And then obviously you link to the blog post that you just created with the embeds and the videos and all that. And then you link to the actual review, and then you can link to the actual Google My Business or direct to the homepage of the money site, whatever. You can choose your third URL, but you obviously want to link to the blog post and you want to link to the actual review itself. And it's super, super powerful. And I love that, because that's one of the services now that I do for a lot of my clients is every single month. I just go in and create one review commercial for them and then add a blog post to their site doing everything I just mentioned. And then I publish a press release. And that alone has been incredibly valuable and easy to do, because it takes about maybe an hour per post to do that, which most of it can be outsourced. Okay. Create a process for that and you can outsource that work. I just gave you guys a super valuable tip. I hope you are aware of that. Okay.
I'm going to go one more. And I'm going to say, as far as where to embed them, everywhere you can, but especially using Google properties and your IFTTT syndication networks, push them through Twitter and push them through Maps Powerhouse.
Yep. Absolutely. And yeah, guys, remember, if you've got the review commercial, it doesn't have to be David Sprague stuff. That's just, I like it because it's easy. But you can just use a template. But like Marco just said, now you've got that, you can also push it through Video Powerhouse. You can take the map embed, push that through Maps Powerhouse. We have, as part of Serp Space, we have a second press release service there now called Press Release Plus. And that you can actually embed videos and maps directly into the press release. So once again, you take the same review commercial, and you add that as an embed in the press release, and it gets syndicated to 450 sites, guys. And you embed the video, and then you embed the map. So again, you take this here, you go to share, embed map, grab the embed code, paste that in through the order process, and now the map gets syndicated through 450 media sites as well as the video. And then you've also got Maps Powerhouse and Video Powerhouse to add additional power-ups or boosting as needed. All right, super powerful strategy. R.L. Sanders. Hey, guys, thanks for all you do. Happy holidays. Happy holidays to you as well. Speaking of reviews, what is the best way to get reviews for a GMB listing for lead gen sites? Do you bother trying to get any from tier 1 sites like Yelp, etc.? Okay, so this is completely black hat, guys. I know I talked about no hats, but this is like, it can be considered unethical too. But yes, you can create fake reviews for your lead gen sites. There's a number of ways to do that. One of the best ways, the easiest and most hands-off way, is to use LBL Robot. One of you guys want to drop the link for that? We've got a special that through this, and I absolutely use it for some of my lead gen sites, guys, just so you know. Full disclaimer, many people may think it's unethical, so you have to keep that in mind. But Yelp, LBL Robot is something that technically you're supposed to be using, like adding real reviews to it, and then they basically will go populate reviews that you've collected from your site out on some of the various directory sites, Google being one of them. Yelp is not one of them, but Google being one of them. I think another one's like City Search, another one's like local.com. So there's several of them in there. But, again, full disclaimer, I use it for spam reviews for lead gen sites. And I just want everybody to be aware of that ahead of time. And we actually did a webinar about it that, if you're interested, and let us know. It's part of the bonus site. If you have access to the bonus site, it's in there. If it's not, I think we have a separate landing page set up for that. I don't know if one of you guys know where that is. If so, you can drop the link. But you can actually see the webinar where I talk about specifically how I use that tool. Okay, so that's the most hands-off way. It's pretty much automated. All you have to do is go in and add some text and, you know, add your businesses that you want to post reviews to. But the other thing is a better way, although much more manual work unless you outsource this, is to use something like Browsio or Ghost Browser or something like that, where you have started to build out your own profiles, persona profiles that are starting to accrue their own history, browsing history, cookies. You know, you can theme the profiles, and then you can start building those profiles up by making them reviewers on various platforms and going out and reviewing businesses, not just your own stuff, but you can also review other businesses with those profiles to start really building up their clout as reviewers. And that way now you can start building your own set of profiles that are like genuine, and I'm using air quotes, but genuine reviewers, like genuine profiles that are adding value. And now you have something that you can use for client work as well as additional lead gen sites that you can have like reviews that will stick, that are considered valuable reviews. Does that make sense? Start building your own army of reviewers, basically. Now, again, it's something that you could set up originally and then outsource it. But that's something that, you know, you could, again, using something like Browsio or Ghost Browser, you could literally have a VA that goes in, you know, once a week for 2 hours with, like, say 10 profiles that all have Yelp. Each profile has its own Yelp account. Each profile has its own Yellow Pages and Super Pages and City Pages and, you know, Manta.com and all these different sites. And they can go in and just every, you know, 2 hours a week would all be all that is required for them to go in and log in and bang out like 2 or 3 reviews for each profile once a week, right? And go, and it literally, in a couple hours, they could do that. And over the course of 6, 8, 10, 12 weeks, think about it, guys, you end up with these super, super powerful profiles that now you can use for SEO purposes at any time you want. Does that make sense? It's a very, very powerful strategy. All right. Whew, Greg's up. We got about 18 minutes left, guys. Love the questions. Shit ton of them here. Goodness gracious. You guys weren't kidding.
Huh.
Okay, go ahead.
No, I was laughing because there are a lot of questions.
Yeah, they were serious. Okay, so Greg's up. What's up, Greg? He says, I remember mentioning a press release training, specifically best methods for linking multiple PRs to each one and the other timing of the PRs. Is that something you've completed or will do in the future? Yeah, it's been done in the MasterMInd. In fact, our 3rd edition of the physical newsletter was just sent to the publisher this week, and that is the part 3, the 3rd installment of the PR method. So once again, that's part of the MasterMInd. Greg, I know you are a former member of the MasterMInd, so if you'd like to come back, we'd love to have you. Is it something I'm going to release in the future? Yes, and the reason why is because I said I would months ago before we decided that we weren't going to release a lot of products. And we're still planning on not doing that, but like not releasing a lot of products, although I announced earlier today that we are going to also release the video email thing. And that's only because I know most of you will benefit from that. And I think that's important to get it out. But the PR method, yes, I am going to turn that into a product. It probably won't be launched until mid or late February. Okay. But yes, that will come out as a separate product. All right. To clarify, I'm interested to learn more about your results in the different stacking methods you've tested and the velocity or timing of PR2 and PR3. Well, in the stacking method, it doesn't matter. The velocity makes no difference because you're not linking direct to the money site after the initial PR. Okay, so it makes no difference. You can be as aggressive as you want with that, which is why I like using that method. However, and I'm not going to get into the details here. You'll have to wait for the product to come out or join the MasterMInd. You can get it now. But there are some very specific things in the stacking method that need to be done, or else 2-3 months down the road, the effect will have been lost. And I know this from recent experiences with a lot of guys. I've been testing this method for about 6 or 7 months, and I've seen some significant slipping in rankings for some of the properties that I had started this method with. And I've troubleshot, I've pinpointed the problem, and I've already started to rectify it. And I've ran a few tests and been able to recover rankings in under 7 days for several of the properties. But again, there's something very specific that has to be done when you're using the stacking method in order to prevent that from happening, you know, a few months down the road for you to start losing traction. And it's not a very difficult fix. It's quite simple, actually, but it's something very specific. So again, I can't share that here, guys. It wouldn't be fair. You want to join the MasterMInd, I'd be happy to share that with you there. Otherwise, just wait until the product comes out. last part of this is also if it is it best to use 3 different PR services or just 2? Use as many as you have access to, Greg. I mean that, guys. You know, we have 2 separate syndication services, press release wires or distribution services inside of Serp Space. And so obviously I use those 2 primarily because, you know, we have, you know, it's much cheaper for me to use our own distribution services than others. However, I also use Press Cable too, and newswire.net. Still use that sometimes. So there are absolutely benefits to using multiple press release services, and that just adds additional diversity to your link profiles, guys. I'm not telling anybody just use Serp Space services. We have 2 really good distribution services there. The original service, our press release service, has some benefits to it that aren't available in the Press Release Plus, so it's absolutely valuable. But then the Press Release Plus service, which has the maps embeds and the video embeds and syndicates to 450 sites, has some additional benefits, right? So I always like to mix it up. So literally I'll use press release from Serp Space for the, you know, press release number 1, then, and not in any specific order, guys. I'm just saying this as an example. Then Press Release Plus is press release number 2, then Press Cable for press release number 3, then maybe Newswire for press release number 4, and then I'll even test other services occasionally. EIN Newswire is another one that's rather inexpensive. So again, I recommend guys using as many different services as you have access to, because you'll just add diversity in the inbound link profile. Okay. But as far as answering your question, can you use just 2? Yes, you can. I like to add additional diversity when possible, but I've got many properties that the only 2 services I've ever used are the 2 services that we have inside of Serp Space. Okay, so keep that in mind. And yes, I've been able to achieve results with that. All right. Brian, just getting up to speed with your services and AdWords, Chief Search Evangelist at Google, Fred Valliers or whatever, advocates for AdWords automation using tools such as dynamic search campaigns and smart bidding. I may have heard you guys say you like manual. Yes, I do, Brian. Do you consider this self-serving statement where Google will realize more of my ad dollar? Or can I really benefit from this automation? What have been your experiences? Okay, so I don't have any experience with Google automation for a couple reasons. Number one, the training that I followed where and I'll be 100% transparent, guys. I learned my AdWords skills from Perry Marshall's training. Okay, that's how I learned it. Perry Marshall has, I think his name is John Rhodes, who actually does the AdWords training for Perry Marshall, and it's really, really good. And that's where I learned. And I was 100% transparent about that. Even in Local Kingpin, I mentioned that that's where I got my training from. And they teach a very specific method for AdWords, which is always setting up manual campaigns. They do have a section about the automations and the scripts and all that kind of stuff that you can add now. But they say to start off doing manual so that you can really learn AdWords and understand it, and you'll have much more control. Being an advanced PPC guy, you can start to test and experiment with automations. I have never gotten to an advanced AdWords PPC level, and I haven't needed to. I learned how to do it the manual way using a very specific campaign structure, the alpha beta campaign structure, which you can learn about by just doing a Google search for alpha beta campaign structure. There's a PDF by Q3 Digital that will give you basically the overview of what an alpha beta campaign structure is. That is exactly how I set up all of my AdWords campaigns, because it fucking works, and it works really well, and it's simple to set up. It is the easiest way I've ever learned how to set up AdWords ads. Everything else seems to be so much more complicated. The alpha beta campaigns are incredibly easy to understand and to set up. It requires the least amount of work. The only thing that it requires more of is monitoring the campaigns for about the first 30 to 60 days while you optimize and dial it in. That's it. But as far as the actual setup, it's so simple to set up, and it's very, very effective. And because of that, I've never experimented with any of the automations, guys, because that's so much more advanced. And I didn't want to spend all the time when I was able to achieve results through the manual method with just about 30 days of monitoring and optimizing a campaign. Once that's been optimized, like literally, I leave it alone. You can optimize the shit out of your conversion rates, but personally for lead gen stuff, which is primarily what I set up these kind of campaigns for, as long as I'm profitable on my leads, I typically leave it alone. And that way I can move on to other projects. So Brian, unfortunately, I do not have a reply to you as far as that. I've always just done the manual, but specifically for the reasons I just mentioned. It's not that the automations don't work. I just never learned how to do it. And to be honest with you, I doubt that I'll ever put the time into it. Okay. because I'm able to achieve the results doing the manual campaigns, which are rather simple to set up and can be optimized in about 30 to 45 days, and then they don't have to be touched anymore. All right, good question though. Anybody else have a comment on that? I don't think anybody else here does automations through AdWords, do they?
No, I don't. But I think that's pretty cool, that the fact that you can touch it initially and then you can just pretty much set it and forget it.
Yeah,
I think that's pretty cool. Facebook has something similar that's called Rules, but I haven't had the time to go through them a lot. So
yeah. Okay, quit this house. Is there a way to post a video on GMB? You know, I don't know for sure, but I was actually in GMB the other day. I was trying to add a, you know, the Google Posts, the GMB Posts. Well, when you click to add an image, let's see, where was I talking about that? I think I was talking about that in the part 3 of the PR ranking method that goes out in the newsletter this week. Anyways, the Google My Business post, when you add a post to that, you can add an image, and I swear I saw in the upload box, you know, the pop-up box where you can select an image, that you could add a video, but I haven't tested that. I tried to add a GIF and it wouldn't take it. I can tell you that because I took the time to create a GIF. Just this week, I was writing the newsletter content for MasterMIND, and I was testing some stuff, and I tried to add a GIF and it would not accept a GIF. But I swear I saw somewhere about adding video. I don't know for sure though. Can anybody confirm that?
No, I've been playing in there and I have not been able to upload a video through the GMB. Now, if you have a real business, then I suggest that you become a local guide through a persona account, build it up, because then that persona can go into your business and do a video, a short video. I think it's like 20 or 30 seconds of the business. I don't. It was just made available in the last few months, where a local guide can go in there and actually add a video. And
add it to Maps, right?
Correct.
Yes. Yeah, you add it to Maps then, because it would be a third party app actually adding the basically like a review. So yes, that's a Maps function, but yeah, it obviously goes to your Google My Business profile. So that's good advice, Marco. Thank you. All right, Sigma. This is a good question. I saw this earlier before the webinar started, and I know exactly what this is. And this is a great question, by the way. This is a lead gadget site. It's either a lead gadget site or a Serp Shaker site. I tend to think this is a lead gadget site because all the menu items down here are the same as what the lead gadget sites produced. This is just an updated template. This is not the standard 2012 WordPress template, which, by the way, through some testing, some of our people testing lead gadget stuff, we found that you need to basically update these mass page generator templates. Do not use the default template. Make it look more like a real site, like this one kind of does. But this is what you're asking about. That's exactly what this is. That's a mass page generated site. My guess is, from looking at it, that it's likely using the lead gadget platform. Remember, I was a co-owner of that business for a brief period of time, or I did training for them basically for about a year and a half, really. I still think it's a good product. It's not something I do a lot of because these are churn and burn type sites, and I don't like doing churn and burn work. So just so you know, that's exactly what that is, though. That's a mass page generated site, and that's all it is. Okay. Which, by the way, I don't understand why people would use these kind of sites to link to their money sites. I tested that extensively to use these mass page generated sites as link building tools, and they didn't help at all. In fact, it could even be a negative ranking signal. So the fact that you're seeing that in backlink profiles is weird. Typically, I would use these sites to drive traffic to somewhere, but it wouldn't, as far as for like link building, I don't recommend it. I tested various configurations and I never got any good results from that. Newest Star Wars, hadn't seen it. Sorry. Anybody else seen it?
No, not yet. I think next week.
I have. Spoiler alert. Just kidding. Sorry.
No, I haven't.
We got 5 minutes left. Let's see if we can get 1 or 2 more in and then we're done. It's been a long webinar. Thanks, Walt. I appreciate that. Let's see. Listen to Walt. That was an amazing 2.5 hours. Join the mastermind. You will be able to build an agency if you follow these steps. No kidding. Is my shilling check in the mail? Yeah, thanks, Walt. I appreciate that, buddy. Thank you very much.
The next question is Nigel.
Okay, right here. Thank you. Any recommendations for where to outsource simple website building for a newbie? I would just go to Upwork. I don't have any specific recommendations, Nigel, but I've always done really well at finding providers in Upwork. I just recommend that you do not post a job and allow people to apply. Always, when I go to Upwork, I post a job, and then I set in the settings as I post when I create the job listing that it's by invitation only, and then I'll go hand select using the Upwork filters. I'll go hand select specific contractors to invite to come bid on the job. And that's how I always do it. And I've had really good success with that. And one of the things that you can do is you're talking about doing inexpensive, simple website building. One thing you can do is set up a test project and hire 3 or 4. Just be, 3 or 4 website builders that you invite to apply for your job. If you get some good replies, and you can always, tell them, be transparent, right? Let them know that you're testing 3 or 4 of them. You're giving 3 or 4 different contractors a chance. They're all going to be paid. Tell them, like, set up a simple 1-page website. Show me what you can do. Give them a specific theme to build it around or something like that, like a topic or something to build around. And then tell them, like, I'll pay you $50. I know here's the thing, guys. Spending a little bit of money up front to test 3 or 4 different contractors, one of them is going to outperform all the others, right? One of them is going to perform better than all the others. And so, yes, it costs a little bit of money to do that, but you identify the best of all of them that then you hire for the full project, right? And so just be transparent about that. Say, look, I'm testing 3 or 4 different people. I'm going to pay you $50 to set up a simple 1-page website, or whatever you decide. What, depending on where they're from is going to determine what you're willing to pay. But that's what I've always done is I would end up having 3 or 4 people test their services. I'd pay all of them, and I would select the best one and then hire them for the ongoing project. That's what I recommend doing. All right. Or is it better just to do WordPress site yourself? And if so, no, I don't recommend doing it. Only because it's time consuming. And you can outsource this stuff for pennies on the dollar compared to what your time is worth, Nigel. Like I can pay somebody, $200 or $300 to set up a rather nice WordPress site with multiple pages and every silo structure, everything else. And I could pay, $300 for that. And I can charge a client $1,500 or $2,000 for it. And I'd rather have somebody else doing that. And then when they deliver it to me, I can go in and do like the actual on-page optimization stuff once the bulk of the site has been built. Does that make sense? So it's not something that I typically like to do. I do still build sites occasionally, but very rarely. All right, guys. I'm sorry I can't get to all of them, but boy, what a day. So thank you. Oh, by the way, Wayne's answering the question about adding a video to Google My Business. So thank you for that, Wayne. I appreciate that.
You got it.
Yeah, and before we go, we're getting close to having half of the MasterMIND spots filled, which is 1, awesome. Thank you guys for joining, and 2, I'll pop the link back on here. But if you're still thinking about it, like we said, it's going to be open till the 1st of January until they fill up, which is probably going to fill up because we're going to email out to all of our subscribers here in the coming days. So if you're interested in it, do it and hop on a call with us, and we'll figure out how we can help you make 2018 just kick ass.
Yeah, and some people they have already scheduled calls, so we're moving in hot. Some people have already scheduled calls, so yeah, I'm really looking forward. This is going out to 10,000 subscribers tomorrow, I think, right, Adam, or something like that. So yeah, they're gonna fly. So
well, it goes out tomorrow if we don't get the other 10 filled up today.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I've got a note on Friday, but yes, over the coming week, and we'll probably take it easy on Christmas, but. Yeah. Anyways, looking forward to having some new people and getting to know some more and having them grow with us.
Yes, sir. All right, guys. I kept my hat on for the entire webinar. So everybody, Merry Christmas.
The Hitlers give me a headache. So thank you all for being here. This has been awesome and a ton of good questions today.
Yeah, it was awesome. And Merry Christmas to all. Happy holidays to those of you that do not celebrate Christmas.
Happy holidays. See you all next week. We'll be here.
Thanks, guys, for everything. Appreciate you all sticking around. We'll see you all next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.